Peace, peace, peace. Already before I got in here. That's what's up. But peace, everyone. Peace, Sister Manira, and peace, Chief. Peace, Brother Antonio. Peace, Sister Gia. And shalom to everybody else out there. This is Movie Innerstandings, and I'm Brother Lowe. I'm the student scholar, because, I don't know everything, and I'm always learning, like you say, you know what I'm saying? So, peace, Sister Deirdre. Peace, Sister Sequoia. So, okay, today we gonna get to it. We are talking about Prometheus, right? And basically, Prometheus pretty much has already been broken down. If you saw V with Chief's breakdown of V, that's why I say it's already pretty much been broken down. But it's a movie that was in 2012, and it was made by Ridley Scott, who basically started off the Alien series and things of that nature. So it's fairly recent, and it's a very insightful movie. I've seen it once before, but I never really paid attention to it, except for the ending, where I connected the dots. Oh, this had to do with, aliens, the series. And like Chief said before, this also is the prequel to Aliens and Predator and things of that nature, because it's all in the same universe, So that's what we're getting into. We're getting into the prequel of everything. And this is very an insightful movie just because of what it's talking about, creation and things about that. But just think about the name, Prometheus, and you can go with what Prometheus did. Prometheus, for those that don't know, comes from Greek mythology. It's the name of not a god, but a titan. Prometheus is a titan, and he was the titan that didn't side with the other titans. He sided with the Olympians, which is Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, and the titans are, Kronos, Atlas, things of that nature, right? So Prometheus is the one that, sided with the Olympians, and then Prometheus is said in Greek mythology to be the creator of man, and he gave man fire. Basically he was being the thief, and as you know, that thief energy creates innovation. So he gives man the innovation of fire, and if you think about fire, you think of many things that fire has given human beings throughout history. Just being a catalyst for so many things. Glass making, metallurgy, cooking, and natural survival skills, for warmth and things of that nature, and protection and things of that nature. So he gives man fire, and he gives man fire more than once because Zeus takes it away, because Zeus wants to basically subjugate man, but he gives man, and Prometheus gives fire to man more than once. But because of that, and because of other things, Zeus locks him up, chains him up in the Caucasus Mountains, and every day he gets his liver pecked out by Zeus's eagle, and then at night that liver will be regenerated, right? So it's not, I say all of that just to say it's not a coincidence that this movie is pretty much called Prometheus. Pete's peace, Max, and Peace, Sister Shamanique. And like I said, Chief already gave the breakdown. Basically, I'm sort of giving the blow by blow, So, you got at the start, you see it seems like they put a lot in this scene. You see, at the start, you see, basically Earth, and it's very gray, for a reason, and at the start, you see, what they call the engineers later on. One of them is ingesting, black liquid, which kills him and decomposes his body, and he falls into, the water, and from his remains, uh, uh, I would say a chemical or DNA reaction to form new cells and new bacteria, you could say as well, to form, life on the planet Earth, right? In the movie. So, we fast forward to that. But I like that scene because of the simple fact it shows a Genesis phase. You know what I'm saying? You see a Genesis phase within that scene. You see this giant, sacrificing himself to recreate something else, and come in a different form, in a sense. So, you fast forward that, and then you get the year 2089, and they're in Scotland, and you have these archaeologists, scientists, basically looking at cave paintings. And these cave paintings are like 5,000 plus years old, and which are, when I looked at them, they reminded me of the cave paintings that they excavated in France. Same, same artwork, in a sense, except for the tall being that was basically showing the star map. And just think about that star map, because you're going to see it in more than one scene. But to me, it's like, what does that star map look like? To me, that star map always looked like Orion, the constellation Orion, at least the body of the constellation Orion, right? Oh, peace, Sister Masha. How am I? How are you all grooving? Oh, well, I'm. Hey, I'm on it right now. I'm on it. A lot of insight with this movie, so I'm on it. But already, so you see, two characters, Charlie and Elizabeth. They want to find, what was there, or the beings that were there. And so you fast forward to, December 21st, 2093, and you have the scientific exploratory vessel known as the Prometheus, right? And then we see the android David, like I say, if you've seen Chief's breakdown of V, he talks about David, because David is a real central figure, and he's going to be a central figure in other movies as well. I just didn't see all of them, but I know that he's a central figure, right, in more than one movie. But you see him being basically the steward of the ship, taking care of the humans as they sleep, and basically cleaning things up or whatever. He's even bouncing a ball. He don't got no handles, but he bouncing the ball and things of that nature. And also he's taking language lessons, which was very interesting to me, because they talking about the Indo-European descendants and whatnot. And so he's learning Proto-Indo-European languages, you know, which is interesting, you know. So you think about that proto, Indo-European, that, that section. um, and then they talk about how, uh, how it's how these things are 5 millennia predating, humanity. But you also see with David, that he models himself, from the movie, with Peter O'Toole, Lawrence of Arabia. Of course, I've seen that movie, right? And he models himself after him. He sort of looks like Lawrence of Arabia, or Peter O'Toole. And you have to ask yourself, why did he, model himself after Lawrence of Arabia? Well, for those that don't know, Lawrence of Arabia is actually a real person. Colonel T.E. Lawrence was, a British intelligence officer who, helped with the, Arab revolt against the Turkish in World War I. And he was also in many of the deals, between Britain and the Turks and the Arabs, after World War I, when they were making all the deals with the Balfour Declaration and things of that nature. He was there, but he worked in British intelligence. So that just tells you something right there, And so, but he modeled himself after him. And so we also find out that the crew has been asleep for, over 2 years, and, they're hired by the Whaling Corporation. Now, if you ever watched the, Alien series, it's the Whaling Tiani Corporation, but this is before that. So now you see, where that comes from. Before, it was just the Whaling Corporation, right? And so they're trying to ask, basically, Peter Whaling, the CEO of the Whaling Corporation, he wants to ask 3 questions. Where do we come from? What is our purpose? And what happens when we die? The age-old questions, right? The age-old questions of humanity. And so as they're having this briefing and find that out, the scientists come up and talk about the ancient civilizations, Egypt, Mesopotamia, because you're going to see Mesopotamian cuneiform all throughout this movie. So just to let you know, so pay attention to that. You're going to see Mesopotamian, Sumerian, if you want to say cuneiform, already in this movie. And Chief already told you, before that, basically, at the start of the movie, the beginning is sort of like the tale of Tiamat, So like I say, it's already been broken down for you. But they go in talking about how all these ancient civilizations are worshiping, a being pointing at the same star system or star map, and they are going to arrive. Well, they arrived at a moon that's capable of sustaining life or human life, and they believe that this is an invitation from what they call the engineers, and Elizabeth, or Ellie, because I'm going to call her Ellie a lot. She said something like she doesn't know if the alien, the engineers created humans, but she chooses to believe it. And it goes back to a dream that David saw with Ellie and her father, and they're at watching a burial, African indigenous burial, and her father is telling her, their God is different from ours. And they, we choose to believe certain things, but Ellie Smart, she asks how do we know these things? How do we do that? And I remember Chief, one thing that he said, that kids should ask, how more than why. Here you have Ellie asking how. She asks how a lot more than why. You know, but they get to this moon and they touch down on it. And then you hear Charlie say, God does not build in straight lines. Reminded to be something how Chief said, trees are not grown in straight lines, So I thought of that same thing. And David explains why he wears the suit as they're going to excavate this site, this mound looking site. I'll just say it like that. And he says, because you people are more comfortable interacting with your own kind. That's why I wear the suit, But like I say, Dave is a very central character because you can already tell from what he says that he has a disdain for humans. Like he does, but it is what it is, right? And so, they get into the site and whatnot, and already, I would say rules or engagements are being broken, or rules of first contact are being broken, if there are such rules. You got Charlie taking off his helmet, in a foreign site, just because there's sustainable atmosphere, breathable atmosphere. You don't know what type of bacteria is in there. You don't know what is in there. But I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so arrogant. I don't care. I'm taking out my suit. I'm taking out my helmet. So they all take off their helmets. Nobody has the forethought of like, I don't know, maybe we should, test the air, see if there's any pathogens or anything like that. We don't want nothing, we breathe in, because we don't know. This is still foreign territory. But hey, that's just me being logical. But once again, we see them looking around, and then we see David touching the cuneiform, and by him touching the cuneiform, or the Sumerian cuneiform that he sees the holograph of an engineer running and getting his head chopped off by the door, and so they go to, they run the path that the engineer runs, and then they see the dead body, in the doorway. And then they open the door and they see pods, in front of a human statue, a humanesque like statue. Remember, like you said, these engineers have the look of Nephilim giants, So take that into consideration, right? And so they find the decapitated body. And so you have Melbourne and Fifield. They're like, okay, we don't need to be here. I'm a geologist. The study, geology is the study of rocks. And I'm just here to study rocks. I'm ready to go, And so they take the head back with them and things of that nature. And they go back to the ship. They try to basically liven up the awaken the cells from the head they took back. But instead they end up making the head explode, right? But that's interesting to, take this one instrument, give it basically an electrical stimulus or electrical shock to basically make it think that it's alive in order to just liven skin cells. Basically that's what it looked like, liven skin cells. Yes, Emma Sequoia. That was crazy. But so we can already tell that David is talking, to Wayland through his helmet. you know, or Peter Wellen, you know. But he also took back one of the pods, which he wasn't supposed to. But he took back one of the pods without anybody seeing, you know. And as in this thing, he's opening the pod while Ellie and them are basically taking a tissue sample from the exploded head. Yeah, it was like a defibrillator for the brain, right, Sister Deidre? And while they're doing that, looking at the tissue sample, he's opening up the pot like no one was there. But as you can see, he sort of has that thief energy. He's doing all of this in plain sight and nobody sees him. He's being that thief in the night. I'm gonna get this, get in, get out. Look, I'm gonna open this, and while everybody's distracted, I'm doing this in plain sight for all to see, but they can't see me, But from the tissue sample that they take, they see that the engineer's DNA, matches human DNA, and we see David take a droplet, or a spore, like Chief said, from the pod. And he said, big things are small beginnings, and that's how he sees this this spore as a big thing, but small, a small beginning. Aside from Ellie, they were all rude to David. He was non-existent until he was in their face. Yeah. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. But that's the point. That's the point. That is the point. So we like Chief talked about this scene. So what happened is that David basically talks to Charlie, and he gives him a bottle, a bottle of Ace or whatever. And I already do. It's like, man, don't drink that bottle because I already knew he probably gonna put some in that drink, right? But David asked him, why did your people make me? And Charlie says, because we could. And then he says, do you ever imagine how disappointing to hear the same thing from your creator? And Charlie's like, but then he gives him a drink, puts the spore in his glass, and he drinks it. But that's very telling, because not everything is full of enlightenment and a deep answer. You know what I'm saying? And that's very telling in that scene. It's not all grandeur. Like, this is this big undertaking. You may meet the creator, and he may say, seemed like a good idea at the time. When David asked this question, it was very comedic for me because I I thought about it and I was like, I got it. Let's the man in our own image. Come on. Come on. But we just made dinosaurs and all that. F them dinosaurs. Let's make man in our own image. That's something we've never done before. It's revolutionary, I'm telling you. So it was comedic for me. But just think about it. It you may meet, like he said, you may meet your creator and it may not be some enlightenment, God-like answer. You may be totally disgusted about what they say. That's it. And you can take that from a human standpoint with children. If you didn't want me, why did you have sex with this person? Or why did you make me? I was doing what felt good at the time. That may be your answer. Things of that nature, Like, you didn't like my mom. Why did you, do this with her? Well, she has, she was thinking the thighs, Yeah, unconscious creation, right, Sister Deirdre. So yeah, but everybody's on the ship except for Milborn and Filfer. Now, mind you, they were the first to leave, but they got lost, and so everybody left them. You know what I'm talking about? And some of the Sumerian tales, the gods were drunk um when they created a man. Exactly. And you will see that in more than one creation myth. Hey, I got drunk and didn't expect that to happen. Didn't know what I was doing. I had a sore headache, got a headache out of this world. And then you were born. But I didn't know what, you know, humanizing, deities is funny. But exactly, whoops. Whoops. Messed up again. so so yeah. But as they are, still, on, in the encampment, they find a bunch of bodies, bunch of dead engineer bodies, right? And the captain, played by Idris Elba, Captain Janik, but I want to say Yannick, but Captain Janik. I really don't want to say the J, but it is what it is. He tells them, there's something alive, like west of y'all, but it's not moving. But they get scared, but like, man, okay, he says west, we going east, But after that, you have Ellie talking to Charlie, because Charlie's disappointed they didn't meet the engineers or whatever, or that what they found was a dead engineer, and Charlie, says, at least we know who created us. And then Ellie says, well, who created, who, and who made them? She keeps on asking questions, trying to dig deeper or whatever. But Charlie says also that there is nothing special about the creation of life. That's what he takes from it. And he says, like, anybody can do it, but then that hurts Ellie's feelings because she can't have children, and then he's like, I didn't mean like that, and then you want to say, oh yes, she did. That's how you feel. That's really what you think. But then we have a funny scene where Captain Yannick asks Vickers, if she's a robot, then he hits on her, and things of that nature. But when you see Vickers, what's interesting is she's like a robot. You would think that, you really think that about her. She doesn't smile. She's all boots and goose stepping, where she's very serious, like she doesn't have fun. She doesn't have no friends and things of that nature, right? And so he pries at her, and then he keeps on singing the song. If you can't be with the one you love the one you with, But after that, we see Midburn and Byfield, they find a reptilian creature, a reptilian-like creature inside the pod room, because the pods are spilling, the black liquid, and they find a reptilian-like, I'll say that, a tentacle-like, reptilian-like creature, right? The thing is, right, I know we see this a lot in documentaries, with people, on safari and things of that nature. But here you are in a different world and you see a tentacle, and Milburn is like, it's okay, baby. It's okay. It's okay. And here I am like, okay, that thing is retracted. It's obviously telling you that it's hostile. Back away. Now I picked that up. But here he is, tempting, tempting the dang thing, like, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Come on. And then what happens? The dang thing lunge at him, wraps around his dang arm, embraces his arm, and then inserts itself into, into his body. And, they try to cut it off, but the blood is very acidic, and it messes up with Byfield's helmet and melts it on his face, and that kills him, So, just curiosity kills the cat, like they say. But meanwhile, they just left a pile of bodies a few feet away. Exactly, Sister Marsha. You already know, hey, this people die. Things die here. Ego over common sense. Exactly. Things die here. Things die here. But you gonna tempt, you gonna play with that like it's a pet, not knowing you don't know what's in that water. Well, liquid. But hey, it is what it is, right? And they do radio Prometheus, but nobody's in basically the main deck, main hangar, which is bad protocol. You never leave the main deck. I'm not a Navy man, but you never need the main, the main deck just unmanned, But it is what it is. And so we see the crew going on recon to find, Milburn and Fifield. And we see David, excavating the encampment, and he finds another pod room, and more to it. He finds the control room, and he plays around in the control room, and then he watches the engineers in the control room, and then he finds the star maps of Earth. And and what's the first continent he looks at? The place we know as Africa. To me that was very telling. But then he finds a live engineer in a stasis pod. And then we see because of the spore that he ingested, Charlie dies, because the spore's taken over, but he gets burned alive by Vickers, right? And after that, we find out that David finds out that Ellie is 3 months pregnant, because she had sex with Charlie. But the thing is that was 10 hours ago, and now she's 3 months pregnant, and she couldn't have kids at all. But now she's 10 months pregnant, And so one thing that David tells her, he said, must feel like your God has abandoned you. That was very interesting. Like I say, David always has a disdain for humans, and he makes these stabs, he goes for these jabs, that nobody picks up on, and but Ellie tries to get whatever's growing out of her, and then we see her go to a surgical pod, right? A surgical pod. And she gets the squid-like, we just say that, a squid-like thing out of her, but it's moving around and things of that nature. Very, 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 very crazy, and she's bleeding, and it's amazing how she basically is asking for a cesarean section for this, and see it, open up the belly, and they take it out, staple the incision, and things of that nature. No, I'm gonna be honest, it makes me wonder how some of you women can do it. I've seen a lot of, doctor shows, but even then I'm like, that I don't know, pimp. You really gotta, be precise and focused, but she runs out the room and just closed the surgical pod, not killing the dang on thing. At least she thinks, but that's what it was supposed to de-sterilize the surgical pod, but that don't mean it's not still alive, right? But after that, we see basically Fifield being the host of 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 of, of like that reptilian thing that was in the pod room, and he comes back to the ship and starts killing people. And then while Ellie is running around, she ends up running into David and Peter Whalen. And we find out that Peter Whalen was alive on the ship, and a stasis pod, right? And we find out that Whalen was on the ship because he wants to be saved from death, And then we find out that, from Captain Janik, that, this place was, the place that they're on was a military installation, for engineers. And, the things that they have there, was basically, like you say, was to purify places, purify their experiments, whatever, So if they didn't, find a something that they didn't like anymore, they would do away with, right? And so that's what you have with this, And then we also find out that Vickers is Whelan's daughter and things of that nature. And we also hear something from David, which is very telling, right? He says, "Doesn't everyone wants to kill their parents, or wants their parents dead?" Which was very, like I say, very telling. You know what I'm saying? Because it reminded me of, his disdain for his craze. Reminded me of a sci-fi, like I say, once again, sci-fi TV show I used to watch called Farscape. And there was this episode where, basically the main character, John Crichton, right? A race, basically also called like the architects, something like that. They go around cataloging different races. And so they never seen humans before. So they want to, take one back with them. So what they do is they clone, John Crichton from, and you have two of them. One looks like the caveman of humanity, and one is the future species of humanity, right? And one thing that the future John Crichton, per se, said, how you look at that caveman, and you have such disdain and beguilement and all that for him. Well, guess what? That's how I see you. I found that very interesting, with David, that he has this disdain for humanity, and we have also him saying, because as they go back to the encampment and they find out that, from David, because he knows everything about this thing, that this encampment is a ship, it's a ship of the engineers. And then he says, sometimes to create, one must first destroy. David is the solar son, right? Sister Moksha. And so they awaken an engineer, and Ellie already knows something's wrong, right? and she's asking all these questions, and Peter Whalen is like, "Hey, shut her up! David, ask him what I came to ask him for, because he wants to know how to extend his life." But he ask him that. So David speaks, in Indo-European, and the giant engineer looks at him, and then strokes his hair a little bit. David smiles at him like he's being accepted, and all of a sudden you see the engineer, basically decapitates him, from the rest of his body. It's like it's basically like tearing off the head of a Barbie, basically tearing off the head of a Barbie doll. Yeah, I'm a guy. I did it. So yeah, basically tearing out the head of a Barbie doll and throwing it away. But that's what he does. Yeah. But do we know what David really said? No. We don't know what he really said. He probably didn't even, if you ask me, I don't even believe that David asked what Peter wanted to ask him. I don't think he did. But I think he said something in the sense that he's on, probably the engineer side or whatever. You really don't know. But he probably tried to make himself look like a friend. Oh, the horror just had flashbacks my dolls and brothers. Hey, SARS is a ninja. I mean, we all do it. You may put my. I didn't have. Well, you may, throw away my dang on Hot Wheels or something, and I'll, rip the head off your Barbie. And throw it away, throw it out the window. I don't know, it is what it is. But yeah, we all done it. But so we see that, but we also see the engineer take control of the control room, and we see him trying to basically fire up the ship. And what was interesting in that control room is that they had this apparatus that reminded me of Looney Tunes, Marvin the Martian. The apparatus, the gun apparatus that he used for the PX-96 space modulator. I should not know that, but I do. But that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like to me. Just going to be honest. And like I say, he's firing up the ship and whatnot. I read the early transcripts of the movie Prometheus, where the writer wrote what David and the engineer said. I posted it in the comment section of the movie breakdown being. Oh, well, if you want to know what, give thanks, Emma Sequoia. Want to know what was said? Hey, Emma Sequoia's already did the work in the comments. Go back and read those comments, which I'm going to do, but not right now because I'm live. But yeah, if you want to know, that's where you go. Ellie talks to Janek, right, and says that he has to take out the ship, or Earth is going to die, because Vickers gets back, also is on the ship, and she's like, we're about to go. We're about to go. And she's like, if you leave, there won't be an Earth to go back to, basically. So you have to get rid of the ship. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. And that's one thing that Janek says. His thing is whatever's here It's not coming back here. Not coming back to Earth. My job is to make sure that nothing that's there comes back to Earth. That we bring anything, you know, uh detrimental to us, to humanity back, pretty much. And so um Janet crashes into the ship, you know. But that scene, like I say, it's interesting. It's basically the playing out of basically Zeus and Prometheus, where Prometheus is intended to save man by giving him the giving him fire, whereas Zeus is seeking to, make the human race into a servile race, and whatnot. And that's what I took from that scene. Thus, the ship is called Prometheus, in a sense, whereas it is the Prometheus that saves humanity, and allows it to live another day, And so, after that, we see Ellie getting into the life pod. Vickers is also in the life pod, but Vickers dies, because the ship blows up and she falls under the debris of the engineer ship, but the engineer's still alive. And so he comes after Ellie, you know what I'm saying? And David tells her, he's coming after you, and he means the engineer, right? And so when that happens, we see the hatched, basically the hatched thing that came out of Ellie, is trying to kill the engineer now, and it kills the engineer. And David talks to Ellie, and tells her that, come get me, because there's more than one ship here, and I know how to fly it, because she's like, none of us is getting off this thing. But he says, yes, we can. There's more than one ship, and I can fly if you just get me. So she takes him in his body, and David basically asks, what is that you want to do? And she says, well, I want to know where they come from. And I want to know why they changed their minds, And then David says, well, the answer is irrelevant. Doesn't matter why they changed their minds. You know what I'm saying? Which is very telling. Does it really matter? You know what I'm saying? That answer is irrelevant. The point is that they changed their mind. And now you have to find a solution, to that answer. How are you going to really prepare, humanity to fight such a creature? You know what I'm saying? And furthermore, you know what I'm saying, Ellie wants to know why they changed their mind. And here I am. I'm like, you already know the answer. The answer's been basically stretched out throughout the movie. The answer is that you stop being the servile race that they created you to be. That's pretty much the answer. If you watch a lot of sci-fi films, that's sort of the answer to everything. Like, for instance, what sci-fi TV show I watched? Babylon 5, because I love Babylon 5. Well, one episode, it's about this great war. And, humanity and the newer races are trying to fight the Shadows and the Vorlons, which are older races, right? And so they meet with the Shadows and the Vorlons. And one thing that both of those older races says, you'll fight for us because we tell you to fight for us. And you'll die for us when we tell you to die for us. But, the newer race is like, no, what I'm saying? That's not what we're going to do. It's our time now. You know what I'm saying? And well, Captain Sheridan says, um, the fact is we don't need you anymore. That's really what it says. Fact is, we don't need you anymore. We don't have to be, servile to you anymore. The fact is, we don't need you anymore. Now get the H out of our galaxy, all of you, and they leave, but because of uh, you know, um, ancient races there as well. But that's besides such thing. The point is that you didn't need them anymore. Just think, like, if you look, they changed their minds 2,000 years ago. Well, what happened 2,000 years ago? What was going on 2,000 years ago? Well, we know, that the resurgence of Christianity, if we go by real life standards, right? But if you look at what humanity has done, at least in the movies, you'd be like, y'all fly in space. We never intended you to do that. Y'all are militaristic. Y'all agrarian and militaristic. We never intended you to do that. We never intended you to do all these things. We probably never even intended you to meet us. And yet here you are. So that's why we changed our minds. Because every time we wanted you to be servile, y'all keep on rebelling. Sounds familiar, don't it? Every time we engineer you to be servile and domicile and do what we want and just be our little minions, y'all cease to do it. We do everything. We try everything and it still don't work. So the only way we can do that is to start over from scratch. Do away with y'all and recreate and go on to the next experiment. That's pretty much the answer. You know what I'm saying? And you sort of see that in other films. That's why Chief said it's very important that you see Alien Covenant, because you're going to see some other engineers that are not like the engineers that you see in Prometheus, right? But yeah. And so we have Ellie give, basically the log, it's New Year's Day, and it's 2094, and she's the last survivor of the Prometheus, and she gives basically a distress call saying, don't come here. You know what I'm saying? But she's going to go on and continue to search and find these other ones. But she says, don't come here. Stay away from here. You're only going to meet death. And then we see the alien, as we know it, being born from the engineer. In the movies, they're called like xenomorphs and things of that nature, but we see it, right? But like I say, this is the prequel to Aliens. So now you understand, like, at least in Aliens 1, it's been a long time since I've seen Aliens 1, but now you understand where they went and the distress call that they got and things of that nature, and why they came with a military force and things of that nature. That's how this thing sets up, right? So now you understand that. I'm like, oh, so that's okay. I see why. That's how you get Ripley and them going into this place and bringing the little girl, and things of that nature, and having them dang on, flame torches and stuff like that. I didn't really get into Aliens that much. I was more into Predator, but that whole rebellion against, the guys that want nothing more than basically you to be their servant. You see that in a lot of things. Like for another instance, Klingons. Like I'm not a Trekkie, but one thing I know about the Klingons, they kill their own gods. And that was one thing about them, and they found pride in that. Cause like, you're Klingons, you killed your own gods. What? find solace in that. You know what I'm saying? So, that's very telling. You do have the gene splicing, and you do see the gene splicing, especially when it comes to the xenomorphs, or the aliens, because you're going to find, throughout the series, you're going to find more than one. You're going to even see a splice with predator DNA. But like she said, these are basically the purifiers. You that's why there was so many parts. Like Jenny said, that was a cargo hold. So you could put that down well and purify it and then start over again. But like I said, here you have a people that were supposed to be servants, and look at them. They can do all these things. They can kill our purifiers. They can kill predators. Predators, for those that don't know, predators are not called predators. They actually have a name. It's hard to pronounce. It's a yacha. But you all kill predators. And predators hunt us. For those who don't know, predators do hunt engineers. But you got to read the comic books. And I didn't read the comics, but I know that. Predators hunt engineers. They hunt any and everything, right? But, you can see that's why we feel you are defective. But then you see why David does what he does. Because he feels like, I'm above my creators. I don't need them no more. Yes, I served them. I did whatever they told me to. But I'm above them now. And I'm going to go do my own thing. Which he does. He does in the other movies. All that he does, I don't know. But he does do his own thing. And if you watch the other movies, you'll find out. But you see the circle and the same premise, from humans to android in this film, whereas we started off as servants to our creators, and then we outgrew them and realized we can become our own gods. And that's basically what, if you ask me, that's basically what David is doing, because he's going to create things. What all he creates, I don't know. But yeah, Klingons keep their culture. Yes, they do. Man, do they keep their culture. That's why we like Klingons, that's why we like them. They find things like diplomacy deplorable. Diplomacy? What is that? That is not honorable. Things of that nature. Guys upon guys upon guys. David searches for the meaning as his creators did, and as the engineers did. Exactly. That's one thing. And you know what, Chief? That's one thing he explains to Charlie. He even says, is there not anything that you would do, basically to find the answers, anything, any and everything at all? Is there not? And that's what he pretty much does. He does any and everything to really find the answers, and to understand. That's why he put that spore in Charlie's drink. He was willing to do any and everything, So you could also take that from David. He wanted to find the answers because he was finding them. He was really searching. He was really digging deeper. But he was really trying to find the meaning to all of this. So I would say, yes, you are so right, Chief. The creation of those predator aliens remind me of when you mix divine blood with those outside of your bloodline, you create a mess. Yeah. Yeah. Or you find a use for them, like the engineers did, and like the predators did. Because if you saw Alien versus Predators, they use basically the xenomorphs as a rite of passage. If you kill one of them, you are now bloodied. You know what I'm saying? It's a rite of passage. You kill a hive queen, shoot, you are an elite. You kill 3 hive queens, shoot, you a clan chief. You know what I'm saying? You go on enough campaigns, you hunt the biggest, baddest things, you know what I'm saying? You go up the ranks, So yeah, or like I said, you finding a use for this gene splice so-called defect. You find a use for it. Oh, I know we can do these things. We can use this to purify the land. Or we can use these as a rice patch for our youth. If they can't survive this, they ain't worthy of being, hunters. You know, First you gotta fight our greatest foe. There you go. you know, Go through basically. I'm telling a little bit of aliens versus places. It's like go through the gauntlet, and then you're gonna fight. Basically, um, the hive queen and her whole hive. Like ants, pretty much. And see if you survive. If you don't, we'll still honor you. A little bit because at least you tried. But hey, can't be one of us if you ain't hunting. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Yacha coming to do their walks about on the earth, and that's what they did. They really did, bro. They man. That's why I like Predator. Gee, that's why I like Predator. They go and do their walks about on the earth, and look. If they took your skull and anything, that was an honor. You were like the biggest. You were a worthy opponent. If they took your skull and spine, but put it in their ship as a trophy. But hey, if you live to tell the story, you can stay. Pretty much. If you live to tell the story, yes, you can. If you live to tell the story, you can stay. But you see, like I say, the gene splicing. You see a lot. Like I say, you see a lot with this film. And it didn't do as well, as the old films, Alien and Predator and things of that nature. But it told a lot. You know what I'm saying? It told a lot if if you had, eyes to see. Which, and not only that, we all know there was an agenda. We all know, these giant albinos, repopulating humanity. Really? Really? Okay, yeah. But semantics, right? But like I say, I enjoyed David's character. I like Captain Yanni because he was like, look, I ain't here for all of that. I know the leaf well enough alone. Whatever y'all going to get, it ain't gonna be pretty. I'm just here to look, get in and get out. Fly y'all in and fly y'all out. I ain't taking that stuff with it. He was cool. I didn't like Idris Elba's country accent, but it seemed forced to me. But his character makeup, yeah, that was cool. The captain was the best character because he already, he already knew, like, these scientists are crazy. They try to bring some things back that no, So yeah, man, that's the Navigator. Man, you make me think of the movie. I think it was a Disney movie, but I was a baby when that came out. But there is a movie called The Navigator. Had the dude that was in the Wonder Years. I do remember that. I think he was the dude in the Wonder Years. But yeah, that's probably an interesting movie. I haven't seen that since, man, it's been a long time. Very long time. I barely remember it. Thank you, Albert Cruz. Fly to the Navigator. See, I did look. Like I said, I was a baby when that came out. remember splotches. I never really watched it again after that. So yeah. But yeah, like you hey, these sci-fi movies have a lot of same premises when it comes to mythology. Like Chief was saying, you got the Osirian myth, and this one you got Tiamat and Sumerian mythology wrapped around in this, which was very telling. Um, yeah, you associate the captain with the Moors, of course. Of course he is. He knew how to chart and get people there. Like, those Moors that was on the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Yeah, they were there. So yeah, we, so, and Estevanico, him too. So yeah, you can really equate Captain Janet with being a Moor, a navigating Moor, getting people to the new world that shouldn't have never been brought there. They messed up stuff. So that's it. I'm done. So next strong, we have a special edition, like always, and it's going to be given by Chief. It's right now to be announced. I don't know what movie breakdown he's going to do. I know it's going to be interesting because I I sort of swiped Prometheus for, I really put it beforehand. I did not know he wanted to do Prometheus, so I messed it up for y'all this week. I'm sorry, but hey, I wanted to challenge myself, so hopefully I did that. So next week, next strong, we are doing a movie breakdown with Chi. So come out and show out, because I know that's what a lot of people look forward to, even myself, and then 2 weeks strongs after that, you're back with me, and we are taking it to my favorite place in the world with a nice little movie called The Assailant. So 2 strongs from now, we're doing The Assailant. Ooh. Okay, Chief. Okay, so next strong, we will be talking about Alita, Battle Angel. That is a anime. If you don't know, see, it's been a long time since I see Chief do an anime breakdown. Check out his Death Note anime breakdown. It's in the archives, but it's good. Even I want to revisit it because I watched the anime and the movies. He broke down the movies, but I watched them both. But it is an anime, yes. Well, the actual Abacruz, the actual movie is a CG, is a computer animated movie. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad he's breaking that down. But it's you can watch the anime, you can watch the movie, but nevertheless, I'm glad he's bringing that in. That's gonna be interesting. It's been a long time since he done it. Now I'm excited because it's been a long time since he done an anime breakdown. Because she don't watch anime, but when he does, man, he breaks it down. So yeah, I'm gonna make anime eat the cake. Bring your popcorn. See, eat the cake, anime. Eat the cake. Jackie, what you doing? Fine. I ain't about to cuss on. Yeah, but y'all know the movie. I don't have to explain it to y'all. Y'all know the movie. You leave me, I kill you. You hear me? I say you leave me, I kill you. You down me, I kill you. Don't start me. I ain't in the mood. Hey, it keeps coming. They keep coming. I ain't thought about that movie in a long time. But yeah, we gonna make anime eat the cake, like Anime Bullet. Ooh, I cannot wait for that one. That's gonna be good. But join us next strong when we talk about Alita, battle angel. Ooh, man, that's gonna be good. So give thanks everybody for coming in and showing out. I am Brother Low, and we will see you tomorrow. Well, tomorrow when we do Shema Anu. So come out for that. And so I say give thanks everybody and peace.